Welcome back to Tuesday, everyone. Let's check out the 3 vendors that changed their wares today. First up, we're in Imperial City Sewers, and she has Rivenspire treasure maps. Definitely not worth 6,000 Telvar, but Rivenspire brings us Dark Stride, Necropotence, and Vampire Cloak, as well as a chance for the leads for Ancestral Orc daggers or shoulders motifs. Our jewelry this week, we have Battalion Defender necklace and ring, as well as Scholarium's necklace and ring. My leads are split up this week because of the new sorting, so we'll work with that. Our first lead is Cultsmith's Water Trough. This is one of 5 pieces of the Cult Blacksmithing Station, and this one drops out of the Solstice Public Dungeon, Callan Vale Gardens. Don't know that this one's too terribly difficult. The other one is way down here, and is Ancestor Silk Ribbon. This is part of Torque of the Last Aliad King. This one drops out of Infinite Archive. If you've not been getting these leads, but you've been running Infinite Archive, just make sure that you are killing the GW Pilferer, the little imp that pops up during boss fights sometimes, as well as those portals to the unknown, completing those. That's where a lot of these leads seem to be dropping. All right, let's pop back up here for our scripts. We have Bound Affix Script Heroism, adds Heroism, a buff increasing ultimate generation. Bound Affix Script Interrupt, adds interruption effect. Bound Focus Script Bleed Damage, which of course adds bleed damage. And Bound Signature Script Leeching Thirst, adds a heal for percentage of damage done. And then finally, we have Fragment of Aggression. This is one of 6 pieces of the Force Shock Wild Burn skill style, and this one drops out of the Westfield Delve Haldane Lumber Camp. Now remember, these fragments are a guaranteed drop. Unlike our leads and things like that, the first time you kill this boss, it will drop. So I would recommend just going in and grabbing it rather than spending the 5,000 Telvar, but that is up to you. All right, let's head over to the Scholarium and see what scripts he has. We've made our way to the Scholarium. Let's see what scripts we have. We have Bound Affix Script Innervation, adds Innervation, a debuff reducing critical damage. Bound Affix Script Magicka Steel, adds Magicka Steel, a debuff granting Magicka Restoration to attackers. Bound Focus Script Dispel, adds a Dispel. And Bound Signature Script Cavalier's Charge, adds an increase to damage as ability persists effect. Okay, all that's left is Infinite Archive. All right, let's see what Filer Ul has.
You see this area?
Okay, first up, East March treasure maps. Again, don't buy these. 2,000 archival fortunes is pretty expensive compared to the couple hundred gold that you can get them for on Guild Traders. But if you wanted to know, East March brings us Akavari Dragonguard, Fjord's Legacy, and Stendar's Embrace, as well as a chance for the leads for Ancestral Nord, Legs, and Shields motifs. Next up, we have Cartographer's Vest. This is one of 7 pieces of the Master Field Cartographer costume. It's about 2,000 gold a piece on PCNA, which still seems better than 3,000 archival fortunes, honestly, but it is here if you need it. This one normally drops out of the Blackreach Greymoor Caverns Public Dungeon, Nachuth and Karst. So if you need it, you can either farm it, buy it for gold from traders, or for 3,000 archival fortunes here. Next up, we have Companion Equipment Light Armor. I typically don't recommend these. They're bound. You're at the mercy of RNG. Just not the best way to get companion equipment, in my opinion. Our first plan today is Diagram High Elf Pot Hanging. It's this winged pot with chains to hang down. This one runs about 20k on PCNA. Looks like on PCU it's somewhere between 11 and 20k, but you can get it for 2,000 archival fortunes here, which I think is a much better deal than some of the other things we see here. Formula Bottle Liquor, 2,000 archival fortunes. It's only about 3 to 4k on PCNA. On PCEU it's more like 2.5k to 10k. This was a pretty common drop. I don't know that this is the best expenditure for your archival fortunes, honestly. I think I would either get it from a trader or just wait for it to drop. It's a pretty easy one to get. Our first book is Finbor the Resurrected. This one drops in Infinite Archive, and the Eidetic Memory is also in Infinite Archive. If you're not sure how that works, I do have a link about books in the description. Our first lead is Penumbral Oil. This is one of 5 pieces of the Shadow Queen's Cowl, which is one of my favorite pieces for my Thieves build. This one drops out of the dungeon Moongrave Fane off of the final boss. So this is a pretty good buy, I think. You can get it on normal and Moongrave Fane, but it does require running the entire dungeon probably several times to get your first copy if you don't have it yet. So not a bad buy. Next, we have Worm Cult Wagon Bed. This is one of 5 pieces of the Cult Blacksmithing Station. This one drops off the Solstice World Boss, Soul Caller's Haunt. This one shouldn't be too horrible to get. There's still plenty of people at the Solstice World Bosses. They are a little bit more difficult by yourself, though. So if there aren't people around, it might be worth getting this one. But I think Penumbral Oil is probably our buy of the day. Although this plan is pretty good, Praxis Druidic Bed Ivy Stone Double. This runs 61 to 77k on PCNA. On PCEU, however, it's more like 100 to 270,000. There's an outlier at 500,000, but for the most part, you can get it in the 100, low 200s. So pretty good deal for only 2,000 archival fortunes. Remember, however, you cannot sell these patterns. I feel like every week somebody says that they bought a bunch and then they couldn't sell them. These are bound. So this isn't going to make you money, but it could save you money. That's it. All right, our second book is Tidefall Cantos. This one drops from Infinite Archive, and the eidetic memory can be found in Fathom's Drift in Apocrypha. Our scripts this week, we have Bound Affix Script Courage, adds Courage, a buff increasing weapon and spell damage. Bound Focus Script Shock Damage, adds Shock Damage. Bound Signature Script Wayfarer's Mastery, adds improved functionality of skill line passives. Next up is the Shadow Rend mask style page. I always recommend getting these masks. Banish Cells 1 is pretty easy to run. It's pretty easy to get the hard mode achievement. It's pretty easy to farm it, even on vet. However, there's a short window when this drops. The drop rate is atrocious. It takes a very long time, even in short dungeons, to convince it to drop. So I say get all your masks this way. So I personally, and your mileage may vary, but I personally would rather run Infinite Archive enough to get 15,000 archival fortunes than to take the hours it often takes to get mask style pages the regular drop way, personally. Next up, we have Cleave Arctic Blue skill style. This one you can get from Maj El-Ragath in the Undaunted Enclave for 20 keys, which isn't terrible. It's not terrible. So here's another place where you can run pledges to get 20 keys, or you can spend 10,000 archival fortunes. You have the option. Both are pretty even, just kind of depends on what you prefer doing. I think the 10,000 archival fortunes is probably a little bit faster, but if you run pledges anyway and have an abundance of keys, that would be the way to get it. So totally up to you. And finally, we have Disgusting Spoils. Consume 25 Disgusting Spoils to unlock the Scheming Skeever's achievement and the Malographic Skeever pet. At 3,000 archival fortunes apiece times 25, that would make this a very, very expensive pet. And it's not even all that cute. So this is a guaranteed drop, however, if you run enough Infinite Archive dailies. So I would just run my dailies, collect my archival fortunes for all these other amazing things, and get my fragments that way. But if you're only missing 1 or 2 and you'd like to be done, it is here for 3,000 archival fortunes. All right, that is it. Let's see. Next up, we have to run a couple arcs of Infinite Archive, see what gear drops, as that changes every week on Tuesdays too. All right, we just ran some Infinite Archive, and it looks like this week we have gear dropping from Rivenspire. That includes Dark Stride, Necropotence, and Vampire's Cloak, as well as from Necrom, which is Apocrypha and Telvanni Peninsula. That includes Adamant Lurker, Kimona Tong, and Vivek's Duality. That's going to do it for this week. We'll see you in the next one.